This program is proudly brought to you by Harvey Norman, Nissan and Telstra.
EnergyAustralia Stadium is the venue for this round 19 clash in the Telstra Premiership. It's the Newcastle Knights up against the Penrith Panthers. Let's take a look at both teams as we run through the Newcastle side. We have a couple of changes to both the starting lineup and the bench. With Mark Hughes out of the side, Anthony Quinn will move into the centres, and that brings John Morris off the bench and onto the wing. And Julian Bailey is the addition on the bench. The coach is Michael Hagan. For the Panthers, they also have a couple of changes, with Chad Halliday coming into the side from the bench and into the centres for Shane Elford. Ryan Girdler is also out injured. His place to be taken by Luke Young. That brings Danny Galea onto the bench to make his debut, and the coach is John Lang. Sean Hampstead will be in charge this afternoon. Been around since 1996 now as Johns gets us underway, drives it low under the breeze. Defending the northern end of the stadium in the first half, and it's Lewis who brings it back out towards the 20. Prentice gets into dummy half, gives it to Martin Lang, who's swung to ground heavily by Parsons. Madeira's in there to help him. Comes to Joel Clinton. It's been very good for them this season, playing his 13th game this afternoon for Penrith. As Hopkins takes it up towards the halfway line. Prentice from dummy half again. Turns the ball back on the inside for Colin Ward. The second row today. Most of the season. The number 8 jersey that belongs to Joel Clinton this afternoon. The kick from Gower wasn't a good one. It comes down to Kurt Gidley. He's filled in very well at the back for Robbie O'Davis, who's been missing over the last couple of weekends. Morris, versatile player. Won't be with the Newcastle Knights in 2003. He's the wing position this afternoon after playing halfback at times, play a hooker as well, lock forward. A number of holes for them. Good ball from Newton, which came back to Peden, standing down the tackle at the halfway line. Panthers will be intent, finishing off those first up tackles. Simpson cuts inside the Penrith 40, and Medeiros will feed it to Johns on the last tackle. Spiral bomb, which will hang there in the breeze, goes away from Wesser, taken very well in the end by Luke Lewis. Positioned himself very nicely and took it comfortably.
And he has had his troubles under the high ball this season. Reece Wesser. I'm sure Andrew Johns will be testing him a lot more this afternoon. Swirly conditions out there. Wonderful take early in the game by Luke Lewis.
Oh, good tackle here by Simpson. Got up and stopped Martin Lang dead at the line.
Come on, Sean, too early, mate. Right, play the ball. He didn't play it. Come too early.
The Knights up inside the 10. Panthers will find the sideline, and they'll have it inside Newcastle territory for the first time. See what sort of pressure they can mount here in the opening few minutes. Comes to Martin Lang.
Rudder. One, Sean, Rudder, hands off.
Makes the tackle. They're 40 away from the Newcastle one. They get another penalty here.
I'll tell you what it's for. I don't want you lifting your knee like that at all. Cut it in.
Sean Rudder, the player, penalised. A really simple mistake to make. Just, as he said, lifted the knee as Martin Lang got back to his feet, trying to slow the play the ball down, and just Sean Hampstead said we won't have any of that. And so the Panthers will have it now in a terrific position, just 20 away from the Newcastle line as Clinton takes it into the teeth of the Newcastle defence, and he's just 8 metres away. Prentice gives it to Lang, who was taken high by Josh Perry. He'll be called out.
That's too high. Keep it. Come in and sit him high. That's too high. There's 3 penalties in a row. Just come and keep him, settle him down. It's too high. Yep.
It's hard to argue against any of them. An offside penalty, a penalty for a play the ball infringement, and then a high tackle, which certainly got Lang high. Colin Ward taken solidly there to Tahu, hit the ground very heavily. Come to Pulatua.
Let him go.
It's driven sideways in a strong tackle by Parsons and Badiris. Prittis will give it to Gower. He has Young outside him, feeds it on to Wesser, but they were pretty flat in attack and there wasn't much happening for them.
Hands off. Oh, nice.
Eden was up very quickly with the help of Anthony Quinn to stop the fullback. Hopkins. Gower goes past one, gives it to Pulatua. It comes wide to Fadawira, and the Panthers will play from in front here in Newcastle. And they worked the overlap, Laurie. They had the numbers and found them down the left-hand side.
And they worked the numbers terrifically well there down the right-hand side, as you mentioned, Warren. This is the start that the Panthers really required here this afternoon if they're a chance of upsetting the Newcastle team. Tahu getting caught jamming in. They still had the numbers on the outside, the Panthers, and that was a lovely second-man play from Gower.
Well, certainly great work by the Panthers to take it down their right-hand side, because what they did is jammed up all the defence. There was quite a few forwards hanging out on their left. They had the overlap. It was quite easy in the finish, but very smart play by the Panthers. Good start.
Chris Hicks taking a look at the post from wide out. Have the breeze helping him. They'll swing it towards them. Started left though and went further left. Nonetheless, it is the Panthers who will play from in front. They lead Newcastle 4 points to 0 after just 6 minutes here at EnergyAustralia Stadium.
Well, it was a great start by the Panthers, and it's obviously the start they do need. They've got a good breeze behind them, so let's hope after that first kick by Craig Gower, they do improve their kicking game and make full benefit of this breeze.
Here is Martin Lang, who was hit in the high tackle by Josh Perry. Stopped on this occasion, though, by Matt Parsons. Clinton comes at Simpson. He'll play it back to Prittis. Comes to Colin Ward, who runs across the field. He's an easy target as a consequence. John's downstairs and Wheaton over the top. Pick him up and stop him very quickly. Lee Hopkins. The solid shoulder there of Clint Newton, who put a good hit on him. Ball knocked down by Pulatua. Panthers come up with a simple mistake inside their own half. That would have been emphasised obviously before the game. They can ill afford to do that today against this particular side. And Newcastle will get their first chance to go on the attack.
And especially after putting points on the board, Warren, you must get to your kick. That occasion, they're trying to do too much with the football.
Johns with the scrum feed, comes back to the left-hand side. Oh, Rudder has put it down. Talk about an unhappy start to the game for the 5'8". Penalised for lifting his knee to play the ball, and then puts down the most easy of passes from Johns. Well, working a play down that left-hand side, they try to stack the short side with 4 players. Didn't get the chance to use the play because Rudder knocked it on as cold as you like. Wesser taking it from dummy half. Stopped by Badiris, who's had yet another terrific season for both Newcastle and New South Wales. And then, of course, Friday night 2 weeks ago, Australia against Great Britain. Prittis going from dummy half, saw that gap between the defenders either side of the ruck and picked up a good gain of 15. Here goes Gower doing the same thing, runs to Rudder, finds Pulatua, who almost got into open space. The ball picked up by Luke Young, handed back to Chris Hicks, and they're just 10 metres away. The Panthers looking sharp in the opening minutes here. Here's Gower, the crossfield bomb, charged down by Badiris. 6 more tackles as Young comes across the field, and he'll happily take the tackle. Terrific chance for the Panthers to extend this scoreline. Hopkins takes it from dummy half, gives it off to Halliday, who's stopped about 8 metres away. Ward just bumping it forward. 4-0. They can make it 8, perhaps 10. Young, give it to Gower. Options either side. Pulatua, similar play to the last one. This time he takes the tackle, and now Wesser goes from dummy half. He got across the line. Was he held up, or did he get it down? He took them on from dummy half, the small fullback.
Definitely wasn't held up.
Caught them out unawares. He certainly wasn't held up, as Sean Hampstead says. It's either a try or he lost the ball.
Well, he's pretty confident, Reece Wester, that he scored. Look from here that he got the football down. Tremendous strength from dummy half. That's a try. He's still got control of the football, but it's just too easy at the moment for this Penrith outfit. There are holes around the middle of the park. First it was Pritis going through, then Gower getting out of dummy half.
There it is, green lights for the Panthers. They scored the first 2 tries of the game in front of a capacity crowd here in Newcastle, and the Knights fans are stunned. The Penrith coaches are delighted, and it's 8 points to 0. And Chris Six, around about 12 metres in from the western touchline, as Andrew Johns looks on with anything but impressed expression on his face. They might be double digits down here after just 10 minutes of play. Hicks a better strike this time, straight between the posts. And it's the Panthers, believe it or not, who lead the Newcastle Knights 10 points to 0. Do we have perhaps one of the upsets of the season on the cards here?
Well, certainly lack intensity, this Newcastle outfit. They started off poorly with their discipline, giving 3 penalties away in a row. Now defensively around the middle of the park, they've been very loose, and on the edges they've been stuck for numbers on a number of occasions.
Joel Clinton brought it back and Perry stopped him, but he still got the offload away. A big collision between the 2 front rowers. Clinton just kept the pedal to the metal and charged into them. Martin Langmike, and here he is himself, his front row partner this afternoon. 46 tackles the Newcastle Knights have had to make. The Penrith Panthers have made 7. Pritis from dummy half got them going in the last set of 6 in the lead up to the try when he made a good break from dummy half. That was followed up by Gower, who will do the clearing kicking on this occasion. Rolls it in there behind Sweeney, who's on debut this afternoon. He was outside the Panthers 40, even though it crossed the line inside Newcastle's 20. It will be the Knights who get the feed.
That's better play by the Panthers outfit after points, kicking the ball downfield. I think they were hoping that the ball was going to stay in play. It's a hot afternoon here this afternoon. The Knights, they are big in the middle of the park. Parsons and Josh Perry trying to play an up-tempo game, the Panthers, trying to run these Newcastle forwards ragged a little bit and try and use the ball in the middle with little cross plays, darts from dummy half.
Balls comes out from the back of the scrum. Johns had to go a long way back to get it. It was Quinn who took it outside the 10. Peter now. The Knights camped inside their own 20, trailing by 10 points to 0 as Simpson carts it forward. Badiris comes to Parsons. Pritis was down low. It was taken with Parsons. It was Lang and the help of Clinton that stopped him. Now Perry. Playing it to Rudder quickly as it comes once again to the left-hand side. Talk about afternoons where a player might be looking for a hole to crawl into. Sean Rudder. Does anybody have a shovel for him at the moment? He's put a ball down, given a penalty away and thrown a ball over the sideline. He's having an awful start to this game.
Well, I think the next thing he does really has to be positive. He needs to get the football and make a good run, not even worry about taking the opportunity to pass the football or in defence really come up with a solid contact.
Gower now comes to Luke Young. Pulatua cutting back on the inside. Just outside the Newcastle 30. He spent plenty of time already in this part of the field. Pritis comes to Hopkins, a lovely ball. It comes wider still to Halliday. And they come just in time to stop him. Sweeney a long way off his wing to snuff it out. Gower shows it one way, comes back the other. It's taken by Luke Young, who's stopped about 15 metres away from the Newcastle line. Last tackle. Gower will put the crossfield bomb in. Hicks is out there. He certainly can jump. Getting in there to stop it pretty quickly and doing well is John Morris.
They get plenty of value out of John Morris, don't they? A utility player can play anywhere really in this Knights outfit. Last weekend he played hooker, deputising for the injured Denny Badiris, and today he finds himself on the right wing.
Plays it back to Badiris as well, and now Parsons counts it up towards the 30. Panthers haven't made a mistake so far in this game. Here's Newton. They'll stop him, 15 short of the halfway line. And they a penalty now, Newcastle. On the last tackle, Penrith undo all the good work in the previous 5 tackles. I'll give the Knights a chance to go inside Penrith territory. One of the rare times in the game.
The Cardinal sin, isn't it? Last tackle, giving away a penalty. You've done all the hard work. They had the Knights in their own half. Johns was under pressure to get the kick away on the last tackle.
Johns getting in there to dummy half. Comes to Perry. He stops 25 away from the Penrith line. Newcastle's best chance to pay some points so far in this game is Parsons. Lopes up towards them. He's 15 away midfield. Badiris. And right to his right-hand side. Came back to Johns. Peden, though, has lost it. Pretty simple mistake once again from Newcastle. And the Panthers come away with it through Colin Ward, who got there to dive on the ball, and now Lang takes it forward. It just isn't the crispness and the work today from Newcastle so far. And here's Wesser going from dummy half. A good game. He had the ball ripped out then.
That was strict.
Sean Hampstead had a very good look at it. Wesser lost the ball. And he was quick to blow the penalty for the Penrith Panthers. And once again, they'll take it deep inside Newcastle territory here.
Well, these are just dumb penalties by the Knights. They were in a good attacking position. They came up with a silly play, lost the football, and now compounding that was the fact that they give away silly penalties. They're just releasing all the pressure off the Panthers, and aren't they enjoying it?
All the way, Knights, half fellas.
Here's Colin Ward. Takes it up for a gain of about 9 or 10, stopped by Newton and Perry. Prittis comes to Gower. Bypasses Pulatua to give it to Luke Young. Across the park and was wrapped up by Sean Rudder. Fatuira, 2 try scores for them, passes it to the other one in Wesser. The fullback very involved, and he's just outside the Newcastle 20 with a couple of tackles left in this set. Gower going to them quickly. It's a complete 360. He'll play it back to Prittis on the last tackle. Looking for 6 more tackles. Prittis will put the bomb up. Lewis is out there. Coming to take it, though, pretty simply in the end. Neil Sweeney. Too much pressure. The breeze just blew it away from Luke Lewis, who was chasing through. Newcastle did a good job of blocking his run, and here they are tapping it and restarting from the 20. Rudder hangs onto it. A bit of a Bronx cheer as well from the Newcastle fans after some mistakes to start the game. Morris takes it from dummy half. The Pulatua, the help of Fatuira to make the tackle. Here's Johns trying to get something going. Runs it, Gower still going. Just away from the Pulatua attempted tackle. Gower might have hurt himself. In fact, he has in the tackle. There's trouble for the Panthers and further trouble with another penalty. Craig Gower might have broken a wrist. He went straight to it. He knew he was in trouble the moment he made the tackle on Craig Gower. That could be a devastating blow for Penrith. Here's Gidley playing it now. Badiris comes to Parsons, who is looking to get the first try of the game for the Newcastle Knights. Johns, they've got them caught short. Players in the queue to the left-hand side. Peden gives it wider still to Sweeney, who scores on debut. It was a simple matter of putting it through their hands. They had the 2-man overlap out wide. Gower went from the field. The Knights have struck, and it's 10-4.
Yeah, they were short for numbers there with Craig Gower leaving the field in distress. But the Knights, they really worked the play to their left-hand side. Had a little bit of doubt about the last pass. Thought it might have been forward. See Gower making the tackle on Johns. It looked as though it might have been his wrist. And from there, they worked it downfield, the Knights. The skill level is starting to pick up. The passes look to be hitting the chest, and Sweeney in his first grade debut going over and getting the 4-pointer.
Well, all this came from a penalty and sort of give the Knights a piggyback downfield, and because they threw the ball around to the left-hand side, it was just a case of the numbers. They had too many numbers out there for the Panthers players. Just good crisp passing, hitting the mark. And as you say, Neil Sweeney come up for his first try in first grade. It's a great achievement for him.
Kick from almost the sideline. The Knights Knights are back within 4 after a very haphazard start to the game. It's the Panthers who lead them 10-6.
Well, just on Craig Gower, I noticed 2 plays before he tackled Andrew Johns. He did hurt either the arm or, as we saw now, could be the wrist. And then the Knights realised that, and from the tap they ran straight at him, and then second play later, he's come off with an injured wrist.
Andrew Johns, as you just saw, crossing the 1,600-point barrier, just the 6th player in first-grade history to achieve the mark. It's quite a list of players in front of him. Jason Taylor, of course, the all-time leading point scorer, with Halligan, Cronin, Eadie and Sims. Very big names in football, still in front of Andrew Johns, but for how much longer?
Don't throw that him up now. Panthers, come on, fellas.
Here's Morris, the dummy half roll for the time being. Found support there of Adam Woolnough. Now it's Gidley who's stopped at the halfway line. Badiris to Johns, and past the decoy of Sean Rutter and Newton. He's 35 away from the Penrith line when he plays it back to Quinn. Johns, high to the air once again. The test out Reece Wesser. Troubles this time for the fullback. Good fend as well onto Mana Tahu. He got around Morris. Here comes Johns in cover and he saves the day, the captain. He put the bomb up and then tracked 50 metres back across the field diagonally to stop Wesser running away and scoring a remarkable try.
Oh, tremendous tackle, Andrew Johns. He was away, Reece Wesser. I don't think anyone would have caught him. And the Panthers on the attack.
Luke Young has it. He's 38 metres out. That was a terrific piece of play by Johns. He could sense the danger once Wesser got the fend on Tahu, and Morris couldn't foot it with him. There was no fullback at home. Prittis goes back to the right-hand side. Hopkins takes it to the 20, still standing, in fact going again. Puts the head down, ran it Parsons. He tried to put the shoulder bump on him, and Hopkins went a further time. Welcome to the Dodge and Cars League. Here's Lewis, comes to Pulatua, he gets past the Tahu tackle, the pass though from Danny Galea, who's come on for Gower, was a shocker. Not a good first touch for 19-year-old on the boot.
He had the right idea though, quick hands out to the winger and he would have been over. But there's been a reshuffle in this Panthers outfit. It looks as though Luke Young has now gone into the 5'8" position, better known as an outside back. Be interesting to see how he goes. Galea's shifted to the left centre, and Fatarira has gone to the left wing.
That's easy for you to say.
I hope I pronounced that right.
Here's Gidley. He'll play it. Morris gives it to Simpson. Pushes away from the Pulatua tackle before Prittis got to him. Now Badiris with Johns. A long pass across the face of Rutter once again. Peden took it, but he was stopped by his opposite number, Lee Hopkins. Here's Rutter, giving it to Johns. Last tackle. Grubber for the in goal. Will sit down as well. Faguira, who's now playing on that left wing with Chris Hicks moving into the middle of the park, brings it back. He plays it to Wesser. Here is Hicks. A terrific job in the opening 23 minutes. The Panthers here, 2 tries to 1. They lead 10-6. They're playing some fairly composed football at the moment.
They are, but they must realise that the Newcastle side aren't used to being behind on the scoreboard. They are starting to now play a more lateral game. They're going away from that go forward. And at stages they've looked as though they've had the Panthers' numbers when they shift the ball wide. The Panthers have just got to be wary of maybe spreading their defensive line out a bit more as Neil Sweeney takes a tremendous catch. They've done the right thing early in the game by compressing their defensive line, but the Knights at the moment are looking to shift the ball at all opportunities.
That was some sort of catch from Sweeney, wasn't it? Actually back to John Dyson at the SCG. Pearler up against the fence. Johns on this right-hand side again. Find perhaps a weakness in this reshuffle left-hand side defence of the Panthers. Parsons takes it across the halfway line. Last tackle once more for Newcastle. Here's Rutter. Puts a bomb up. Goes right across the field this time. As a player without confidence at the moment, isn't he? Although Sweeney took it and was almost away. Still the last tackle. Quinn put the kick in. And the Panthers have dived on it through Luke Young. But Sean Rutter needs just a quick word from the coach or something. Does need to reassure him at the moment. Having a great start to the day. Lang now.
L3, hands off now. Aim Knights here, aim, hands
He's
off.
10 short of the halfway line. Hardly made a mistake inside their own half, the Panthers. Handling has been very good. Really limited the chances Newcastle have had close to their own line. Rorty, who's out there, gives it to Lewis. Stopped by Parsons, just on his own side of halfway. Come back to Luke Young. Do the kicking now in the absence of Gower. Another good one as well. Might have a little bit too much weight on it. In fact, it does. And across the dead ball line. Disappointed that the keep will stay in the field of play, but at least they'll make the Knights work it away from a set play situation here when Penrith can line up their defensive line.
One thing the Panthers have got to be wary of, to me it looks like the Knights have certainly lifted a little in intensity, and I think that's coincided with the fact that Craig Gower has left the field. They realise that one of the attacking players for the Panthers has gone. They've got great opportunities now to score tries.
Johns gives it away and it comes to Woolnough. It's across the halfway line. 15 minutes out from the break. Here's Newton. Continued his climb in form in the last 2 seasons. Just makes improvement week after week. Now Johns again to this breeze and will hang there and coming down on top of the catcher were a couple of Newcastle Knights. Peden was there, so was Sweeney. In the end, Chris Hicks did extremely well to stand under the ball and take it.
That's a tremendous take under a lot of pressure there. Chris Hicks, he's been swapped over from the left to the right wing. Had the sun in his eyes and a lot of pressure from the Newcastle Knights chasers.
Well, out the back. Tackle from Ben Rorty. Came to Colin Ward and he was set upon straight away. Pritis now. Give it to Hopkins. Comes to Halliday. Almost got away from the Newton tackle, but he was stopped out there by Sweeney. Here's Young again. Left boot on it. Deep kick this time. Although Morris will let it bounce. He'll sit up on its point for Gidley. He'll be stopped by Lewis. He's doing a good job down the middle of the park now after starting the game out there on that right-hand wing.
And you really must mix your kicking game up today against this Newcastle outfit. The back three haven't played a lot of football together. They're not used to one another. They don't link football with one another of what we've seen so far. So really starting to tease the back three. Maybe kick short a few times, look to kick long. In behind the wingers down a short side. Just really try and confuse them a little bit.
Johns was stopped in a good tackle by Luke Lewis on the previous play. Stopped and made an effective tackle on him. And now it's Johns again, who gives it to Tahu. Back on the inside for Morris, who's put it down between the legs there of Danny Galea. And the Panthers have it once more. Just having trouble getting to their last tackle option at the moment, the Newcastle Knights. John Cross comes on for the Panthers as well as John Lang goes to his bench and Reece Wesson goes straight through them. Comes at Gidley, who makes a try-saving tackle. He tried to put a step on and Gidley did enough to take the pace out of his run. Here's Young giving it to Halliday. Stopped a solid tackle by Quinn with the help there of Peden. They're just 20 metres away from the Newcastle line. That's where Rorty will play it back to Cross. Comes to Young, who has the playmaking duties at the moment. Lewis turns it back on the inside for Tony Pulatura. Fairly laboured play. It's telegraphed and Newcastle stopped them easily. Here's a bomb once again. Wide, in fact, well too wide. Right over the sideline. Chris Hicks was hoping to make a play. And watch it just sail almost into the first row of the hill. Newcastle once again will just work it away from inside their own 20.
Well, the kicking game could be a bit of a problem for the Panthers with Craig Gower missing. Luke Young, inexperienced as far as that's concerned in first grade. The last couple of kicks haven't been all that good, in particular that last one, so it could be a bit of a problem.
Morris gives it to Simpson, who runs it Rorty, takes him with him. Ward has to come in and help out in the tackle, and he's almost back to the halfway line. Badiris to Johns, comes to Newton, he has runner outside him. Getting across in defence was John Cross, and he stops him at the Penrith 40-metre line. Quinn, give it to his halfback and captain. He gets away from the British tackle. Will chip over the top for Ginley. He got a bounce but went straight over his head, and here comes Wessel once again. Oh, he was calling from room 222 for room service, and they dropped the ball.
He's been everywhere this afternoon, Reece Wessup. A couple of times he's been in the clear, only to pull down by try-saving tackles from Gidley and Johns. That time he was on the spot. A bad bounce for Badiris. But Reece Wessup positioned himself well, got the football back and saved the Panthers.
Looked as though they were going to score. Wicked bounce it took. Panthers survived. 10 minutes to make it to half-time. To add points to this scoreline with this breeze at their backs. Here's Young again. Putting it high in the air. Will float down to Gidley, who has put it down and knocked it on. He won't like the call. He thought he might have knocked it backwards, but Hampstead said no, it went to ground. He knocked it on. He got the call right as well. And here are the Panthers with a great chance. Only metres away from the Newcastle line.
And he done tremendously well to get there. He was screaming across Kurt Gidley to get that fullback on the football on the full. Unfortunately, bouncing out of his hands. Puts tremendous pressure now on this Newcastle defence.
You go, Locks. Just settle yourself down. Hey. Just stand up. Get your arm over. Get your arm over might help. Get your arm over. In you go, Locks, in you go. Righto.
Sean Hampstead with his hands full on this scrum. Important piece of play here. Concept of the game. Here's Lewis coming to Faduira. He had supporting to leave, but doesn't need him. And the Panthers get try number 3, and it's 14-6.
Well, they're exploiting them on the edge of the ruck this afternoon, the Panthers. On the left-hand side of the field, you've got Sweeney making his first grade debut, and Anthony Quinn, better known as the centre, playing at the left, better known as a winger, defending at left centre. And on the right side, you've got Tamana Tahu, who's more of a winger, playing in the centres, and John Morris, who's a utility man, playing right wing. They just haven't played a lot of football together in these positions. Luke Lewis does tremendously well from the scrum win, dragging in 3 Newcastle defenders. Morris sliding away, Gidley coming across. Fadarua goes over to score.
Well, it's just a lack of communication as far as the Newcastle Knights defenders were concerned. There was just no talk at all. Lewis did remarkably well. He's dragged 3 players in there. Once he did that, there was always going to be an overlap for the Panthers. They're just doing this too easy on this left-hand side of the field. They're attacking the right-hand defence of the Knights and doing extremely well at it.
Kick again is a good one. It shaves the inside of the left upright. It's 16-6 here in Newcastle in front of a capacity crowd. They have been taken out of the game by 3 Penrith tries. Apart from the one moment when they were able to cheer when Sweeney scored, little to cheer about. Seen their side give away penalties and make some uncharacteristic mistakes. It's very much the Panthers in control of this one at the moment. Comes to Rorty, runs at Johns, stops him at the Penrith 20. Prittis goes back to John Cross. Dearest went up out of the line very quickly to take the speed out of his run. Now Hopkins gets an arm free, pops it back. Rorty got there and knocked it on. They forced the ball here, didn't need to, and now they'll give the Knights possession, just 30 away from their line. They can hit back straight away here, Newcastle. And while Sean Hampstead sets this scrum, I can tell you that Craig Gower, the report from the dressing sheds where he went straight to with the doctor, is that he has broken fingers. Of course, we need an x-ray to confirm that, but Craig Gower has not one but several broken fingers is the initial diagnosis. His afternoon will certainly be done. Here are the Knights. It comes to Parsons. He takes it inside the Penrith 10, still going. They caught them short on the left-hand side last time around. This time they come back to the right. Johns stepping off the right foot again. Another good tackle by Luke Lewis.
Hand knocked it out. Hand knocked it out.
The ball was stripped away from Johns, though.
Wait, he's in front of you. Wait, he's in front of you. Right.
They want a quick tap and they take it. But Dearest gives it away. It comes to Adam Wall. Now he lost the ball as he went to the line.
It was one-on-one. It was one-on-one, Rake. One-on-one, and that's kicked dead. Kicked it. No, you kicked it dead. Goal line, drop out.
Ripped out by Penrith, taken across the dead ball line by them. They will drop it out from their own line.
And again, it was Reece Wesser. He's had a tremendous game here this afternoon. As the big fella Walno goes, looks as though he's going to score his second try. And Reece Wesser did a tremendous job there in a one-on-one, stealing the football. He's been outstanding today for Penrith. We see Craig Gow back on the sideline.
There's those fingers. They said the initial diagnosis was a couple of them were broken. He's back on the bench though, so he realises that it's a game in which they lead 16 points to 6. They're in a position to cause an enormous upset today. He wants to take any part he can in it. The Dearest, we'll see if he makes it back on the field this afternoon. Here's Peden now. He'll play it back to the Dearest. Parsons stops by Prentice with the help there of Pulatua. 20 away, midfield again. Johns comes to Gedley into a hole. He got away from Luke Lewis. They were watching further afield. When he threw the dummy and went straight through, there was no stopping him. Gidley scores and it's 16-10.
He's got tremendous speed, Kurt Gidley. Lovely second man play there by the Newcastle team. Andrew Johns, he's the man that the Panthers really must be concerned about this afternoon. Try and number up correctly wherever he goes on the football field. And that time, second man play to Gidley, finding himself in space.
Well, it was a great decoy run because Luke Lewis went in, left the gap on the outside, and he did very well, Kurt Gidley. Plenty of speed, as you said, Laurie, to go for a try, but it's a very important 5 minutes for the Panthers. As you said, Warren, they were 10 points in front. They had to go in with a 10-point lead, or even better. They couldn't afford to let the Knights come up with a try, which they've done, and now psychologically they're going to be on a downer.
Nice line run by Kurt Gidley. Player angling back on the inside, which caught the attention of Luke Lewis. Was caught going in or coming out when the pass went to Gidley. He had a couple of steps on Lewis and he was straight through. There is that list we were mentioning just a short while ago. Taylor, of course, on stop. Halligan on top. Halligan, Cronin, Eadie, Sims, and now Andrew Johns. He could make it 1,603 points if he kicks this conversion. 3 out from the break. Good strike by the captain, but the Breeze will catch this one. Just swing it left of the post. And with just a few moments left before the break, 16 points to 10. The Panthers still on top of the Knights. This crowd still waiting to find full voice.
I wonder if the Knights might try a shift early in the tackle count here, maybe off the kick-off or after they've taken one forward. They do compress their defensive line. The Panthers, they angle straight in towards where the ball is kicked off to.
There's a mistake at the back, which almost hands over possession once again. It comes to Gidley, who only just makes it back into the field of play. The Panthers have done very well here. If they can force a mistake, someone have another try in them before the break. Peden will play it. The Dearest gives it off to Jared O'Doherty. He's just outside the 20. Parsons again. Just a short break. Been back out there for most of this first half. Comes to Walno, who went so close to scoring himself before the ball was stripped free by Wesser. Johns on the last tackle. Just kick deep, looking for the sideline. Chris Hicks will take it just inside the touchline. He looks up and there's Sweeney in front of him. Michael Hagan said before the game he's a rugged type of defender and player. He would have loved scoring a try in one of his first few touches in first grade. Halliday plays it for the Panthers. Comes to John Cross. They just need one last set of 6 here. Hang on to the ball. Look it closely from the ruck, and then the good kick away to perhaps end this first half. Despite having a 10-point lead just moments ago, 6 points will do them fine, I would say, going into the break. A game in which they were very much the underdogs. Here's the clearing kick. Young will be under some pressure, but Rudder pulled out of it. He's put it down the throat, though, of Kurt Gidley, who took it just outside his own 20. Newcastle will get one last crack at them here from inside their own half. They'll get a full set of 6 in as Johns goes to dummy half. He has O'Doherty on his outside. He stops just inside his own side of halfway. Badiris comes to Parsons. Comes down this blind side. They're working towards the sideline. Stopped there by Danny Galea. Now the pass comes to Johns. Wide they go again. Rudder keeps it going. It comes away to Matt Jobson. He takes it inside the Penrith 30. A couple of tackles to hang on here for the Panthers. Johns, first receiver once more. Fires a pass to O'Doherty. Comes to Tahu. They had a 2-on-2, but then Lewis came across to help out in defence. Badiris on the last tackle. Comes to Johns. A short ball down the blind side. He is the Messiah. There was nothing happening. And Johns made the 2-on-1. Took it quickly from Badiris, and Morris finished it off. And the Knights can go into the break, locked up at 16 each with the kick to come.
Yeah, they just fell asleep on the short side. Denny Badiris, Tony Pulatua running with his back turned, going to the short side, thinking that the Knights were going to shift the ball, but they found him out. That's a tremendous bit of play by the 2 Australian representatives in Badiris and Johns, and Morris finishes it off.
Yeah, they're 2 senior players. They worked out where the problem was for the Panthers on the short side. As you said, Laurie, everyone was looking to go the open. The 2 senior guys, as we said, they looked the short side. Morris did a great job in finishing.
Newcastle will have the breeze in that second 40 minutes. Difficult attempt again for Johns here. Starts it wide of the post, swinging across the face of him. He went close, but that breeze is hard to kick into. And at the break, there's the Panthers, who have a narrow lead over the Newcastle Knights. It's 16 points to 14.
Stay on the kicker.
Back underway with Chris Hicks. Oh, there's a mistake from the restart. Kurt Gidley has put it down as cold as you like on his own line. And the Panthers will have it just metres away from the Newcastle try line.
Yeah, he'd already thought about what he was going to do with the football before he actually caught it. He was looking to offload and unfortunately taking his eyes off the footy, dropping it, and this is the start that the Panthers required. And if they could put a 4-pointer on the board here early in the second half, well, who knows?
Hopkins picks it up and goes from the base of the scrum. It's just metres away. What a start from Penrith Panthers in this second half. Here's Rorty now, towards the post, picked off by Badiris there with the help of Jobson. Prittis picks it up and goes with one hand. Pulatua coming down the left-hand side is put down by Lewis. They did that so well in the first half, and they almost got across the line here again.
Oh, what about the offload of Pulatua? Luke Lewis would have gone over and scored. He's dangerous this afternoon when he runs the football. He's got the ability. And it was a cover tackle there by Johnny Morris, getting himself in the good position to force the ball loose.
The Knights work it away from their own end of the field. Jobson will play it there. He almost made it up to the 40-metre line. Here's Parsons. Comes at Colin Ward. Stops him. Badiris will hand it to Andrew Johns. No thought of a kick here early in the tackle count. O'Doherty takes it to the mid-stripe with 2 tackles left. Badiris going from dummy half. Ward didn't move up to the line, and he was able to pick up some metres. Gidley gives it to Johns. The first of many bombs perhaps in this second half. Will be too big. Oh, bounced on its point back over the head there of Reece Wesser, who ran to Paul Fatuira. Oh, it's a fullback's nightmare here this afternoon in Newcastle.
Well, that was very poor play by Fatuira. I mean, Reece Wesser had the ball covered. He got a horrid bounce. can see there he's got the ball covered. I don't know why Paul Hatteera was coming back in that way. He should have just let Wesser take the ball out. He only had to travel 2 or 3 metres. It was out the end goal.
He thought, as you could see, he was going to elude Reece Wesser. Hatteera was coming back to grab it and then try and make it back to the field of play himself. Well, in the end, Wesser beat him to the punch, but it meant there was a collision. And now the Newcastle Knights just outside the Panthers 20. Jobson will play it there, but Dearest gives it, comes away to Woolnow.
Let him go now, let him go.
Johns, close-handed first receiver, put a skip on, gave it away to Parsons.
Let him go, number 1, Panthers on the
He's only 8 metres away when he'll play it. Here's Johns once more. Find a ball to Runner, who's had a fairly average afternoon. Went within an ace then of making up for it by getting across the line to put the Knights in front. Peden from dummy half. The Panthers concede a penalty.
Well, you're all over him. Wait. You're all over him. It's not a professional foul. Wait. Yep.
They'll tap it and come at them again. Johns backpedaling takes it as it comes to Kurt Gidley, who's set upon very quickly by Hopkins. Got to hang on for 5 more tackles here, the Panthers. Jobson takes it towards the posts. Johns sizing out the opposition. Steps off the right foot, comes back, gives it to Parsons. He slips it to Badeiras. There's Woolnow into space. He dumped it out the back. Making a tackle there was John Cross. He picked up Jobson. Badeiras now will give it to Kurt Gidley. Peden fires it wide, it's still to Sweeney, who on the boom picks up a double for the Knights. What a dream afternoon for the youngster.
And he's been on the end of some terrific work by the Newcastle Knights. Young Sweeney hasn't had to do much for his tries, but he's been able to put it down over the stripe. And in a debut match to score 2 tries is a sensational effort. And for the first time in the game, the Knights take the lead.
Second try debut to number 2.
You've got to be on your guard when you're playing this Newcastle outfit. They can hurt you. And it was just a long ball to Kurt Gidley. And then Billy Peden summing the situation up. A 2-on-1 with Luke Lewis. The cut-out ball. Too much speed to go in the corner.
Johns from almost the sideline once again. With a good kick, swinging back. What a kick. And the Knights, after trailing throughout the first 40 minutes, after 6 minutes of this second half, lead the Panthers 20 points to 16. It was the start they wanted after they gave the Panthers a golden chance themselves when Gidley put it down from the restart. They have this breeze at their backs and they should be able to find plenty of territory because of it. I'm sure the Panthers will see them spending a lot of time bringing the ball back from inside their own 20. Kick-off handled this time. And the young fullback gives it to Parsons, who brings it back out to the Newcastle 20. Woolnow takes Pritis with him and Cross. Badeiras gets in the dummy half and comes back to the right-hand side. The ball out the back, put them under all sorts of pressure. In fact, they've turned it over here. Jared O'Dowie couldn't hang on to it. It was a pass that didn't need to be thrown to him. And now the Panthers, once again, as they did, get a free chance here, courtesy of a Newcastle mistake.
In all the games I've seen this weekend, Warren, a lot of times after points have been scored in the game, the team has turned it over too easy.
Andrew Johns here concedes a penalty and gives the Panthers a chance just 25 metres out from the Newcastle line.
Really, your main focus when you score points is to get the football as far away from your try line as possible, get to the kick, and then try and build your game again from that.
It is an area where you find a lot of players tend to relax after they've scored, and that's why they come up with so many mistakes.
Pritis now, give it to Cross. This runs towards the post. They're waiting for him to pass. He took it down within about 3 or 4 metres. Again, from dummy half, it comes from Young. Back on the inside for Pulatua. Good tackle by Kurt Gidley. Had him one-on-one for a moment there, and the fullback was up at the task. Pritis goes from dummy half. They raced up out wide to force him back the other way. Gower is back out there now. He put the kick in. And it won't be a restart of the tackle count. They're appealing for 6 more tackles. And now Halliday is down injured here for the Panthers. The player who went back and died on it when the kick came from Gower off one of the Knights. He's got the knock in the process. So if Craig Gower does have broken fingers, this is a tremendously brave effort to get back out there. He's all strapped up, a bit of tape around the wrist, and you can see the strapping there on the fingers as well.
It's a big effort, isn't it, with broken fingers to be out there on the footy field. He'd struggled when he first took part in the contest again after the second half. He missed a couple of tackles, but it's just a psychological big boost for this Panthers outfit, knowing that their best player is on the paddock. He is their skipper. He was steering them around the park in that first 15 minutes. We see Halliday slowly getting to his feet, diving on the loose ball. Badiris comes in, just over the top, nothing much in it. It's just that the way he has landed.
Well, it's good for the Panther side to have Gower back on the field. It'll be interesting to see how the broken fingers affect his passing game. He probably won't be able to see too many long passes by Gower.
Halliday is back on his feet for the moment. Here is Gower giving a pass across. Away to Luke Lewis, who only has one to beat. Gidley stripped the ball from him and saved the day.
No, it was stripped. It was stripped out to Penrith feet. Penrith feet.
The Panthers will get the ball back. But what a play from Kurt Gidley.
Oh, sensational bit of work there by the fullback. Lewis, his eyes lit up. He thought he was in for a try. He put on a lovely right foot step. Gidley coming across. He attacked the football and just getting his hand and knocking it forward. But the Panthers get the best result from that, or the next best result, and that's a scrum feed.
Here's Fatuira. He has it. He already has a double himself. He'll play it 10 metres away. Gidley has been injured in the tackle there. He's struggling behind the play now as Hopkins takes it to the line.
Hands off now, hands off.
Prittis, a dummy half. Give it to Pulatua. He puts the head down, tries to beat them. We've got blood in here coming up for Kurt Gidley. He'll have to leave the field. He was injured in the tackle and now has a nasty cut coming from just above the eye there somewhere. Blood all over the face, and they won't be able to stop that on the field of play, you'd have thought.
Well, that was pretty smart play there by Kurt Gidley, realising his side was under a lot of pressure. The referee hadn't noticed, but he was telling the referee, I'm split, I'm split. He brought it to the attention of the referee, stopped the game. Newcastle side can reset their defensive line.
All right.
The Panthers, of course, still running for play to continue just metres away. Going to blow time back on here. The Newcastle Knights for the moment down to 12 men now. Peden rejoins the play to take his place in the line. The Panthers trail by 4, looking to tie it up right here. Young gives it to Gower. Good ball to Hopkins, who was almost through. Another terrific tackle made by Badiris. No surprise there. Gower, it opens up for him. Getting across the line to score for the Panthers. Is Halliday there? They want to take a look at it.
Just see if he's held up. Oh, the strength of my player.
Well, it'll be a tremendous effort if he has been held up. Young Luke Young. Craig Gower.
Yeah.
Looking to pass the football. The Knights had come up fast on the outside. He had to run. I think he's got the football down. That would be a try for mine. Still a good bit of work. I think it was Julian Bailey was the player.
And it is a try. John goes to the video referee, confirms it, and the Panthers have hit back. Running into this breeze in the second half, and it's 20 points each here between the Knights and Penrith.
And regardless of the result this afternoon for the Panthers, they've played some good football against one of the competition's guns. They have been great in this first 50 minutes. A lot of teams would have lied down after the Knights fought back to get in front, but not the Panthers. They're showing tremendous courage and commitment. Gower, broken fingers, wanted to get back out there on the football field.
The winger with the Beckham hairstyle still. 10 metres in, struck it pretty well. Struck it better than well. Great kick from wide out from Chris Hicks. And they once again take the lead here over the Newcastle Knights. 22-20 it is.
And a lot of people were expecting the Newcastle Knights to run over the top of the Panthers today. They have really dug in, and some of the games I've watched over the weekend, some of the teams just haven't turned up ready to put in.
Oh, here's a catch taken by Wesser, who took it on the full, and then with his momentum was carried across the dead ball line. Had he let it go, it was going to be over the dead ball line on the full. But he couldn't take the odds to it, took the catch, and now the Panthers will have to take the goal line dropout.
Well, it's easy to be critical of Reece Wesser there. He did a wonderful job to take it, but really had Colin Ward behind him, should have told him that the ball was going out and to leave it.
The goal line dropout will come down to Johnson, who plays it off the foot, and the Panthers almost got up there to snatch it back. Vidiris comes to Woolnow. He's 23 metres away. Parsons runs at Prittis. Good tackling style down low. Sometimes the Penrith hooker just stands his ground and puts the head down. Parsons almost went over the top of him. Here's Tahu. A ball out the back, Gidley style. Went over the sideline though, and the Panthers have hung on only just on this occasion. Got the left hand free. Bailey was out there waiting for it.
Get yourself straight, Panthers. Righto, Knights, Panthers got
Round the back of Chris Hicks.
Make sure you're
A no-look pass. The Newcastle reserve couldn't hang on to it.
There you go.
Gower gets it. From the scrum win.
It's on one short, right hands off.
Six will take it up towards the 20. Hopkins now. It's away from the rudder tackle.
Let him up. All the way, Knights.
There's Prittis going from dummy half. They'll get it up towards the 40 after just 3 tackles here. Playing with the confidence they didn't show last week against the Brisbane Broncos at times, Penrith. Very well with the ball in hands. Good completion rate, 18 of 22 sets in the first half. They've continued that here in the second half. Wesser will play as it comes back from Galea. Taken by Clinton, who put the head down on the last tackle. And they'll turn it over there at the 30 with a nothing play to finish off the set. You can't have known it was the last tackle.
That's a lack of communication out there for the Panthers. You must know what tackle it is. And you must know if it's last tackle and you're a front rower, you are not to have the football. You must get it to your main playmaker.
Just in defence of Clinton there, he only just come on the football field. So really, as we saw early on with the Reece Wesser Colin Ward situation, just a lack of communication again.
Newcastle, 35 away from the Penrith line. Johns comes to Simpson. They stop him with a couple of tackles left in this set of 6. They hit the lead with the Sweeney try. And now 2 points behind once again. Stepping in traffic, it comes to Johns, who banana kicks over the top. Lewis going back. The kick will be just too big. Sweeney was sniffing through, looking for a hat-trick on debut. Got within an ace of scoring.
Oh, he knew what he was doing. Young Luke Lewis shepherding the ball over.
Okay, fine.
Had Sweeney, his eyes lit up. He thought he might have had a hat-trick this afternoon on debut.
Someone let him up now, let him up. All the way, Knights, come on.
Would have been some sort of performance to come up with 3 tries in your first grade game.
L2, let him go now.
There is Clinton.
Go on, Knights, hold now.
He's 13 short of the halfway line. Rorty comes to Hopkins. Johns, good dumping tackle, drove him down low with the help of Parsons. They stop the lock forward. Wesser now comes to Gower. Cross has it, met by Rudder. Stopped there, 10 metres short of the halfway line. 25 minutes out from full time. Still the Panthers who have a 2-point gap on the Newcastle Knights. Parsons just monstering Rorty there. Parsons might have had a head cut coming out of that. He's suffered a head clash there with Rorty, and now he has blood pouring from a wound to the scalp as well as Sweeney brings back the kick. Bad run with cuts here this afternoon. A space of about 10 minutes here. A spate of cuts. The Knights, Gidley, Peter, and now Parsons, who has blood pouring, as you could see from that cut in the scalp region. Quinn playing it for Badiris. Gives it off to Josh Perry, who's back out there now. He drags Donato with him, who's on the field for the Panthers also. He held on too long in the tackle. And the Knights will ignore the chance to tie the game up through a penalty goal. As well within Andrew John's range. I'll take it down to the 20. Parsons paying some attention to that cut to the head, and now it's Simpson who takes it up for them. Just outside the Panthers 10. Looking to hit the lead once again. Perry. They stop him. 6 metres away. Badiris fires it. Came across to Rudder. Peden is stopped. Strong tackle made by Danny Galea. O'Doherty pushing away from one. They get there in numbers eventually to stop him. Still only a body length away from the try line. Badiris waiting for it. Comes through the hands of Morris to John, standing outside him, playing like a 5'8". Here's Tahu. They wrapped him up somehow, but only just. Fatuira and Hicks combined to stop him. Bailey now to Johns on the last tackle. Rubbering once more, taken by Rorty. He carts it across the dead ball line, happy to concede the 6 more tackles, with the Newcastle Knights pouring through on top of him.
That's great desperation defence there by the Panthers on their line. Fatuira just pulling Tamata Tahu down close to the line, and Andrew John's 5th tackle options. Just a grubber in behind the line. Ben Rorty realising this, grabbing the football, taking it dead. The Panthers are under siege here at the moment.
Here is the dropout, taken by Luke Young. Still has the kicking responsibilities in those situations, despite Gower being back out there on the field as the Knights have it just outside the Panthers 30. Badiris give it to Parsons. Put the head down and ran straight at Donato, who stopped him there with the help of Prittis and also Joel Clinton. Simpson trying to put a left foot step on, takes it inside the 20. Here's Johns to the open side, comes to Rudder. There's players coming back on the inside, comes to Quinn though. He put a fend on Luke Young and he was stopped by Lewis eventually. Peden, a short ball to Rudder. He bypasses Johns and they've got it back, the Panthers. That's a great result. Gower got there to take the crumbs, and they've hung on for something like 3 consecutive sets.
Oh, better than a great result. They were under all sorts of pressure and they hung on, and their skipper dived on that loose ball. He's got broken fingers, that would have hurt. He was under pressure from the Knights. And to come up with possession for your team 10 metres out on your own line, great play.
Here's Clinton running shoulder there at Jared O'Doherty. Mark Lang was dazed in the tackle when he came up with the ball. He hit the knee of Matt Parsons inadvertently in a tackle. Now Fatuira is fired a pass over the top of Chris Hicks, and they'll push him into touch. There's a mistake inside their own half. They've made very few of them in that situation this afternoon, but this one once again puts them right under the pump.
Look, it was the right idea from Fatuira. He stepped off the left, and then Hicks, thinking that he was going to run the football, he started to come in field. He had held his line on the outside. The pass would have been perfect. And they would have been away down that left-hand side.
Give him a loose, mate. Come on. Okay, hey, Mark, just settle down. Just sit. Right, here you go.
Johns with the scrum feed as the Knights take it at the Panthers line once again. It's Morris. He's just outside the 20. Play it back to Quinn. And Peden looming up in support, but he took it himself from dummy half. Midway through the second half, still the Panthers by 2. Parsons now continues to charge at them. This time the front rowers, Clinton and Langstock. Johns spinning, looking for a 4-pointer himself. He's gone very close. In fact, he's ended up across the line on his back. They'll take a look at it.
Just check that. Just check for the held up.
Johns was stopped short of the line, and then somehow has ended up getting across the line, but it took an age for him to get there. You would think he's ended up getting the ball down across the line. It would have been a second effort.
Well, the players are calling, Warren, that the referee had called held I think he's held. I don't think he's made a second effort there to get the football down. That'll be a no try. Great work there by Luke Pritter, showing his strength. Johns 9 times out of 10 would score in that situation.
It'll be interesting here to see whether they rule that he was held up in goal or he was brought down short of the line, and the tackle count would continue on with a couple of tackles left. Of course, he was held up. They'll get 6 more tackles that he made it into the in goal, and that's exactly what they get. No try. They will get the ball back from the scrum feed. 10 metres out from the Panthers line once more. They've done very well to stop them in the last 5 or 6 minutes. Knights have had so much of the football. Now Rudder.
Let him up now, hands off now, hands off.
He's just 9 metres away. Badiris. Johns, cut out ball. It comes to Simpson. Can they stop him? Yes, they can. Terrific tackle by Gower with the help of Fatuera. Here's Johns, showing it, going himself. Popped a lovely ball to O'Doherty, who had time for a fist pump before he got to the shadows of the post. And they've hit the lead once again.
Oh, that was unlucky there for the Panthers. Craig Gower's come up with an absolutely sensational tackle on Steve Simpson. And from that play, the ball, they shifted to Johns. The Panthers had got up off their line. Now just a bit slow on the inside. And Johns' left foot step, the ability to get rid of the football with the one hand. And you mentioned O'Doherty giving the salute.
Well, certainly a great try. You've got to feel sorry for the Panthers. They have done very well to hold the Knights out, but it's just the sheer weight of possession and the fact that Andrew Johns has been able to throw those long passes. The men on the outside are moving up very quick. On the inside, they're slow. He's able to hold the ball that time, get halfway through the line, well backed up.
And from right in front, Johns can add the extra 2. Proves his own career tally. Puts them 4 points in front once again. The Knights 26 lead the Panthers 22. Ben Kennedy watching on from the grandstand.
Right, fellas, stay on the kick while he kicks it.
Hicks with the restart. 1-2 into the breeze this afternoon, which continues to blow strongly from the south. Parsons going up the tunnel perhaps to get that cut attended to. And here's Simpson. Makes a good gain, takes it across the Knights 30. Perry now. Picked up by Pritis. The game now is Newcastle's to lose. 17 and a half minutes remaining though. Plenty of time for the Panthers still. Rudder runs across the face of them. Got it to Morris, who had poised for a support player, but hung on to it. Now Badiris on the last tackle. Gets a kick in under some sort of pressure. It's a poor one. 5 metres over the sideline on the full. A rare mistake from the Australian rake. And the Panthers will have it just outside their own 30.
As much as the Panthers have played very well here this afternoon, it hasn't been the Newcastle Knights at their best. I'm quite sure that they'd be thinking about next weekend's game. They take on the Bulldogs.
What a game that will be. Now Martin Lang has been left concussed here back in the behind the play. He is in all sorts of trouble. Play continues on for the moment. The trainer waves for time to be blown off. And now Quinn takes it forward, and now they'll blow time off. Martin Lang was left on the ground. Yet another concussion for this player who has had so many of them in recent times. He was dazed only minutes ago. He brought the ball forward and accidentally caught the knee of Matt Parsons in a tackle. Now here he is again. Took it forward, Badiris. They stopped him down low and then drove him backwards. The whiplash has ended up with him being left on the ground. He lost the ball there. It fell into the lap of Danny Badiris. And watching this tackle here, which was a completely legal, fair tackle, just the whiplash has caught Martin Lang. Now that could happen to anybody, let alone somebody who's had as many concussions as Martin Lang. That is a sorry sight as he is taken from the field. Doesn't seem like a panic merchant, but given his past history, there would have to be some doubt as to Martin Lang's at least long-term playing career. He is in a sorry state as he's taken from the field. And his father watching on, the Penrith coach, who has seen it happen so many times in his career, both now at Penrith and the Sharks before it. A very concerned look on his face as his son was taken from the field. Here's Johns, just metres away. The Knights can sense they can open up a real gap here. Tahu got it away to Julian Bailey. It wasn't pretty, but it was certainly effective. And they've opened up a real gap now on the Panthers. 8 points is the difference as the Knights 30 lead the Panthers 22.
Yeah, that was just... execution was poor by the Knights, but they got the result that they wanted, and that was the 4-pointer. Johns was tackled on last play. Clinton Newton does well to tap the ball over, and then Tahu onto Julian Bailey playing on the right wing to score in the corner.
Yeah, just a lack of communication there because Joey Johns playing the football. Sean Rudder was in position, the ball didn't go to him. A little bit of luck, but good sides make their own luck.
Craig Gower still working the troops behind the line. 15 minutes left, there's still time for them. Trail by 8 here, it'll be 10 at the most if Johns converts this, so still well within 2 converted tries. Now running into this strong breeze. They've done it tough in the last 10 minutes to make it out of their own end of the field. Here's the kick, swinging back from the master. He adds the extra 2. It's a nice lead now for the locals. Michael Hagan sitting a little more comfortably now in the coach's box with his side in front 32-22. As the Panthers ready to take this kick off, I can tell you further word is coming through from the Panthers bench on Craig Gower's injury. Now it's believed if the fingers aren't broken, he certainly did suffer a dislocation and a split webbing to a couple of them. And we'll see if the report tells us at full time. Either way, he certainly is playing out there in some discomfort. He's done very well, the Panthers captain. Good take by Morris. Went down low to pick it up. He lost it though here in the tackle. So immediately the Panthers get a chance to hit back.
Just keep yourself straight, Panthers. Right, Knights, Panthers got the feed. I'm over, Luke. In you go, Locks, in you go, Locks.
Gower comes to Young onto Fadawira. Coming back on the inside. Hicks was running a line. Fadawira went to the outside. Hicks contends the ball came off the Newcastle Knights, and while it might have, it wasn't plated, as you hear Sean Hampstead say. And they've turned it over on the first tackle.
Just keep yourself straight, Knights.
Yeah, unlucky there for the Panthers. First tackle really must be the next to score if they're a chance of getting away with this game. It's a couple of times the communication level has let those two guys down on that side of the field, Hicks and Fadawira.
Hands off.
Here's O'Doherty, who takes it across the 20-metre line. Small moment for Sean Hampstead. Almost hit the deck, which the Newcastle fans would have loved. Perry. Now Newton. Almost back to the 40-metre line. Johns kicks from just inside it, looking for a 40-20. Lewis knew the urgency of the situation, was back there to cover it, had it taken a bounce towards the sideline. When he looks up, there were 7 Newcastle Knights up there in the chase team to stop him inside the Panthers 10. They are dominating at the moment. Here's Wesser.
L2, hands off now, hands off.
The clock ticks down to the 12-minute mark. It's the Knights 32 over the Panthers 22, and you can hear them screaming out there as Simpson and Perry come up with a very big hit on John Cross in the previous tackle. Ball around the back from Pulatua to Fadawira. Comes to Ward. Takes a gain of just a couple of metres. And they'll kick it here on the last tackle. Well inside their own half. Gower got it away from Kurt Gilly. The kick is a pretty good one, in fact. And Sweeney, who'll bring it back. Still having thoughts about picking up try number 3 on debut.
There's still plenty of time left for him.
Gidley. Dearest.
You would think, though, now the Panthers, they really must go for broke. It's a stage in the game. 11 minutes, they really must come up with something special. Back three are playing very deep. This Newcastle side, maybe a little chip or a grubber in over the top of the defensive line.
Sweeney taking it from dummy half, and Johns will just take it across the sideline. He'll use up the clock here, make it tough for the Panthers once again to work it away from the scrum win.
That's the biggest fall I've had in years, that one.
They've got great value out of their bench players today, this Newcastle outfit. Their forwards and O'Doherty and Woolnough really come on and added a bit of spice. Good go forward. They were lacking that early in the game, and Matt Parsons in his second stint was outstanding.
Fatuira, as the Panthers win it, take it outside their own 20. I'm saying they need something. Come up with perhaps a little chip over the top here in this set of 6. Well, Hopkins has lost it and almost finished the set of 6 before it hardly began. Pulatua bounced away from the Sean Rudder tackle and kept going. Good run from the second rower. Prittis off the back of it, had some space to move in. Here's Gower handing it off to Ward, who was back on the inside. Standing there, swinging the Dearest around like a rag doll. Gower again. Just grubber in behind them. Gidley was waiting for it though. Worked by the fullback. He knew it was coming. He knew in this situation they're going to have to try something. So he was ready for it when Gower did. Gives it to Perry. Momentum about this Newcastle forward pack until this point. I'll get a penalty. The Panthers, in fact.
You did not get up off the ground. You did not get up off the ground. Get up off the ground.
Perry has given the Panthers a bit of a chance here to go deep on the attack and try and give us a nail-biting finish. He's come out from his grass trying to play the ball. Didn't regain his feet before he tried to play it to Sean Hampstead. The young front rower gives up a penalty, and here are the Panthers with Clinton. 30 away from the Newcastle line. Play it back to Prittis. Donato runs a decoy, and Hopkins takes it in behind him. Plus 19 away now. Prittis will come to Gower. He has Young outside him. Wesser joins into the back line. Lost his footing as he came to the Newcastle defence, and that's where Rudder stopped him. Gower again. Runs out of options on the open side. Wheels back around. Takes it down to within 10 metres. 2 tackles left. Prittis looks left. Burns a tackle from dummy half. Popped it out the back. Here's Wesser. Comes to Hopkins. Oh, he kicks. It was, well, I was going to say terrible. That might have been the understatement of the year.
Well, they really needed something better than that in that set of 6. This Panthers outfit. Probably they needed to get all their key players together and try and work a big play. Pulatua and Wesser and Gower. Just trying to maybe use a cross play on the back of the inside with Wesser trailing. The Knights, they do get a bit lazy around the middle of the park. They have dropped off there on occasions.
Back in Penrith territory, Simpson chopped down by Prittis. The help there of Gower. Rudder, ball out the back. He's turned possession over here. The Panthers have it back again. Continues a fairly unhappy afternoon for the Newcastle 5'8". Now Ward takes it back up towards the halfway line. Still time for the Panthers here. They trail by 10. Clinton runs a long way before he gets to Andrew Johns. Puts the tackle of a front rower on a front rower. Now Gower to Young. Flat pass for Pulatua. It wasn't forward, it was all but. Pulatua will play it back to Fatuira. Gower again running at them. Ducked into the tackle there of Parsons. Captain gets caught with it on the 5th tackle. Play it back to Donato. Come to Young. Put it high in the air for a bomb. Won't be a lot of pressure on the Newcastle back three. In fact, Tahu, no one within 10 metres when he took the ball. Once again, fairly poor end to a set of 6 from the Panthers as Billy Peden looks on with a fairly sizable black eye growing by the second.
Yeah, it was a poor end to a set of 6 by the Panthers. I really do think they're in a situation now they're going to try and run the ball on the last play, see if they can do something different. Just putting it up in the air like that is a complete waste of time for them.
The Dearest gives it to Parsons. John, short ball, lovely hand. Morris hit the hole. Here's Medeiros backing up. A flick pass to Gidley. The only player who can tackle him was Sean Hampstead. Lovely stepping, block footwork, and a flick to match. And that'll do it. Let the celebrations begin in Newcastle.
And he must have worked on that, Kurt Gidley. It wasn't a 10 out of 10. He had a little bit of a fall at the end. The judges have given him 8.5. But
The judges are too tough.
great work. Little short hands here by Parsons onto Johns. Johnny Morris hitting the gap. And then look at the numbers in support. Medeiros does well. Little flick pass. And Gidley had a lot of work to do. Beautiful footwork. He's a lovely mover. Plants it down. Now he's lining up. Probably could have ran a little bit further before he attempted that.
Geez, I tell you, you're a hard marker. It was great work by Gidley there. Good stepping, and of course, look, Laurie, I don't know about 8.5. I would have given him a 10. I think if I'd have tried that, I would have finished up flat in me back.
Oh, we've had some beauties in the past, Mundine and Blacklock. They didn't fall to Burke.
Yeah, they were specialists, they were. They were specialists.
There is the scoreline now as Johns adds the extra 2, and it's 38 points to 22. And that will do it today for Newcastle.
Right, fellas, no starts.
And really the scoreline has blown out, but it's not a real indication of how the game has been played. Penrith have been very competitive here this afternoon. They had their chances. The Knights haven't been at their best. I mentioned earlier, I think they've had their mind on Friday night football with the Bulldogs.
All the way, Panthers. Come on, Panthers, come on.
Tell you what, they'll be mistaken if they do, because they're playing next Sunday up here.
Sunday.
Panthers, come on, all the way, come on.
Sorry, mate.
That's quite okay.
Picking
Do
up
it
my
again.
words.
Here's Johns. So working to the left-hand side. Sweeney, of course, out here on the left wing.
Come on, Panthers, all the way.
Looking for a hat-trick on debut. Quinn will work it from dummy half. Here's Johns coming back to the left-hand side. Peden to Sweeney, who passed back on the inside for Newton. Off the hands here of Galea. It comes back for the Panthers. Rawdy will be taken in the touch. And the Knights will get 6 more.
Well, that's the way their day's been going, hasn't it, the Panthers? It's good play by the Knights. Newton throw it back inside. Rawdy's got the ball, but there was plenty of defenders there for the Knights. Did very well to throw him out. He couldn't throw it back inside. There was just too many Knights players around.
Keep yourself straight. Knights.
Johns will feed it just outside the Panthers 20. Is there a Joey special waiting for us to win this one?
Yeah, Joe. Yeah, wait.
I ran out of options.
Wait, I need to go.
To place them on the legs of the back rowers. There goes the call. He gets it. Fires it to Kurt Gidley. Morris ran a decoy line for Gidley, who's still going. Takes it down within 2 metres. The Dearest got there quickly. Johns under pressure. It comes wider still. Quinn gets it on to Sweeney. He dropped it at the line. He was going to become the first player to score a hat-trick on debut in 42 years since the famous Johnny King did it for St George back in 1960 as a 16-year-old. He had the line wide open. The pass came from Quinn just behind him, and the 22-year-old put it down.
Oh dear. He'll have nightmares about that.
I'll have nightmares. I was going to go through the roof.
Hell, one ends off now. Let him up.
It was going to be a great moment.
Well, there's still plenty of time. He could still get it. You never know.
What about a field goal, Bert, perhaps?
Well, I was going to say they might work their way for a field goal, long distance too.
Only 16 the difference. Might be a real chance here. Here's Gower.
Held through. Let him go now. Let him go.
Of course, Bert Kenny, if you missed it last week, calling for a field goal. The Dragons were 2 behind the Bulldogs.
The money was on.
And now infamous call. Broughty playing it. As the clock ticks down towards the 60-second mark, you were talking about the Knights, of course, taking on the Bulldogs here next Sunday, Laurie. The Panthers have to travel down to Melbourne to Olympic Park to take on the Storm. They've had the bye this week. They'll be fresh and raring to go. They have a pretty good run home to the Storm. They are still very much a chance top 8 position. Here's Kurt Gidley.
He's been exciting too, hasn't he, Kurt Gidley, in open space. Very good mover on his feet.
I think both fullbacks have played very well. Reece West has had an outstanding game.
Sweeney plays it, comes back to Parsons, runs it. Galea spends with him. Good hands. Anthony Quinn. There's going to be a knock on until he grabbed it again. John throws a lovely ball to Tahu. It's Fiji Sevens time. Here comes Steve Simpson, wrapped up in a covering tackle by Tony Pulatua. Great work from Tahu to tip it on. Here's Johns. Here comes a chance for Sweeney. Peters, it comes to Quinn. It goes past him. Sweeney is tackled with 3 seconds left. That'll be his last chance. And the siren sounds here at EnergyAustralia Stadium. The Newcastle Knights have beaten the Panthers 38 points to 22 in front of in excess of 23,000 fans here at Newcastle.
Well, it was a wonderful game by the Knights. Although they weren't at their best, the Panthers have got to take a lot of credit for that. They played exceptionally well. The scoreline probably didn't indicate the game itself, but a wonderful game, a great crowd that really added to the atmosphere, and I don't think you could ask for a better game of rugby league.
Andrew Johns is the Fox Panpole Man of the Match. The fans have voted, and Andrew Johns gets the kudos this afternoon from the Fox viewers. A terrific effort from the captain and halfback once again. He had some good support out there. Matt Parsons up front was terrific, carting the ball forward. Danny Badiris, as ever, was very good as well. There is the final scoreline, 38 to 22. Sweeney grabbed the double on debut. Kurt Gidley likewise grabbed 2. Morris, O'Doherty and Bailey all scored tries. Johns kicked 5 goals. Fatu Era crossed for a double. Wesser and Young also scored. Hicks kicked 3 goals as the Knights run out 16-point winners over the Penrith Panthers. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon, and trust you've enjoyed all the action. The Newcastle Knights turned on a real show in the second half. They had plenty of 4-pointers coming towards the death, and it finished with a terrific leap and a jump of faith from Kurt Gidley as the Knights beat the Panthers. Thanks for joining us, and until we see you next time, it's goodbye from Newcastle.
This has been a Fox Sports production for the National Rugby League Partnership.